Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. Say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here. This is episode 69. There are so many jokes that I think that it's almost cliche of the possible scenarios we could come up with for the fact that it's episode 69. One, I don't think anybody ever thought we would make it past 3 episodes. And two, well, it's 69. We all learned early in high school that it's an awkward number and it's a position that everybody thinks they should be in, but it never really works out the way you think it will. So we could just move on and figure it is what it is. One of the fun things about this episode is that the gentleman in the background, if you will, is Mr. Taylor Roberts. In the off-road world, he's a big name. When he was a younger lad, I think early to 15, before he had his bad back wreck, he was actually an amateur motocross racer trying to go to Loretta Lynn's, things like that. So he's got definitely a background in motocross. And as well now, after healing up from that wreck, he's now become quite the name in the off-road world, winning a WORCS Championship last year in 2012, which we're going to be able to learn more about. Obviously, being that he is an Arizonian, would you say that? Are you an Arizonian?
Yeah, Arizonian's correct.
We'll go with that. I don't know if it's not, but we'll just figure it out. He was in Phoenix this past weekend for the Supercross, and so since it's just been such an interesting year, you have to talk about that stuff. We all love dirt bikes, so that's what's going to happen. Of course, he went to the ISDE this past year, was the top American, and all kinds of other fun things. Even though he is quite the clear-cut individual, I'm sure we can pick up a little bit of dirt, figure out if we can have a little bit of fun with this guy. I think it's going to happen. So what you're watching right now, if you just tuned in, is Seat Time. We'd like to thank Fly Racing for being our title sponsor for this year. Definitely, please go check them out at flyracing.com. Ride PG, which is also known as Powersport Graphics. So ridepg.com is another lucky sponsor of the show. And we'd like to say thanks to Squarespace. Many of you guys may not know who Squarespace is. A lot of you guys are athletes, though, so if you're looking for any kind of blog platform or to build a big website that's going to look awesome, you want to check them out. We're going to talk a little bit more about it during the show, but squarespace.com/seattime will also have a discount code. So now that I've gotten all that crap out of the way, Mr. Taylor Roberts, one of the things that I always like to ask is, how is your evening going? And if you are drinking anything, what are you drinking?
Well, I just got done drinking some delicious H2O.
Water! Was it the frozen kind from earlier, or is this actually non-frozen?
Yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, in Arizona, it was hard to find water that wasn't frozen. It was cold here today. So, yeah, but I just got done riding a little bit ago. It's 7 here now, so it just got dark about an hour ago. And, yeah, hanging out, having a good day.
Nice. Well, okay, so I think it's easy to ask this question. What were you riding earlier? Because with the whole Cowie thing going down, I mean, you've seen pictures of you and Destry Abbott out there. You guys have been on your Kawasaki's. So just, boom, tell us what's up. What is the plan for next year? Or this year, I guess. It's 2013. Why not? We'll go with this year.
Yeah, let's go for this year. I don't know what's going on in 2014 yet. No, I still have a 2012 KX450 and a 2012 KX250 practice bike, and I have been riding those. I've been riding the wheels off those things. It's actually been kind of a cool off season because I don't really know exactly what's going on next year, and I wish I could tell you, but I don't have I haven't signed a contract with anybody except for Thor and Bell, and I just kind of told them what I wanted to race, and they're backing me 100%. They're like, all right, well, whatever you want to do, we're supporting you. So other than that, I haven't signed a contract to ride a motorcycle, but hopefully I will in the near future.
Right.
I've just been practicing, having fun. Usually for the last month and a half, I'm only riding my 450, just training hard for WORCS and really focusing on that. But as you can, if you guys follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter a little bit, you can see that Destry and I have definitely not been riding our 450s a lot. We've been doing a lot of riding on our 250s and just kind of seeing how bad we can break those bikes. But we found out they're pretty bulletproof, actually.
I was like, I don't know if it's a good idea to try to break your one and only practice bike.
Well, because originally they told me that I was going to have to give it back at some point. So my theory was, well, I might as well get everything out of this thing that I can.
Yeah.
And we've just been we've been having a blast, just riding different stuff, kind of getting ready for really focusing on King of Hammers or King of Motos, if you will, that type of racing. Just kind of having fun with it. I mean, I rode my 450 today, and I rode it once last week, and that was the first 2 times I've ridden it since ISDE.
Wow.
Other than that, because right when we got back from ISDE, it was full Endurocross mode because we had, I think, 4 Endurocrosses after ISDE. And then I took like a week or 2 off, and then me and Destriabit and my buddy Eric Bailey, and then I got this guy Mike Dam that lives down the road from me. He's a trials guy, but he really loves riding technical stuff. We're like, hey, let's just go find technical trail and get ready for this race. So I've just been exploring and finding new trail and going to California and riding the gnarliest stuff we can find.
Dude, no, that sounds quite awesome, actually. So there's a lot of good stuff there. So take it back a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your 2012 WORCS Championship. I wouldn't say that it wasn't contested, but there's obviously been a lot of talk about WORCS and things like that, and they have a lot of in the fact that a lot of teams weren't competing and a lot of teams were pulling out and things like that. I want you to kind of talk us through, though, your WORCS Championship. We know that you won it a round early, which is awesome. That you were able to go into that last round and just kind of be there but still do awesome. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your 2012 WORCS Championship and then maybe what you think is going to be coming up, because it sounds like there's a lot of changes coming in for 2013.
Yeah, I mean, 2012 was actually an awesome year. I mean, 2011 I was riding pretty good. It was my first year in Endurocross, but obviously I was focusing a lot on WORCS, and I really wanted to win that championship. Unfortunately, I got really sick at the second to last round, which kind of took me out of the championship hunt. But going into 2012, I was like, all right, like I'm gonna win this thing this year, no matter what. And came out swinging and won the first round, and then I basically I think I got second at, I think, the second round. I think Mesquite was the second round last year. Anyway, I won 7 out of the 10 races, which was great. I think I should have won 9 out of the 10 because I had 2 small bike mishaps, which caused me to not get 2 overalls. So last year I was feeling really good on the 450, and then I started training real hard in Endurocross too, and just really got that start off good with a 5th at Vegas, and then started getting some podiums and whatnot. So I was actually feeling really good last year. Like you said, I won the WORCS Championship round early at Kauai, which was cool. And then going into the last race, I actually had one of the weirdest things happen to me that I've ever had happen. I won on Saturday. I was like, all right, cool, Sunday, last race of the year, no big deal. Like, let's just go out and have fun. Well, Saturday night, I had this weird allergic reaction. I've never had an allergic reaction in my life. My eye swelled closed, and my throat swelled up to where, like, I couldn't breathe. So I went to the hospital Saturday night, got an epinephrine shot, got all dialed in so I could breathe again.
Went out Sunday. Throats opening and closing, I guess, is kind of part of the deal, huh? It's kind of unfortunate. But...
Yeah. So... Yeah, and it was weird. Like, I didn't eat anything weird. I wasn't around anything weird. I stayed in the hotel the night before, so it's not like there's something in the hotel bed. I don't know what was going on. But Sunday morning, I go out to the track, and my eyes still swollen closed, but at least I can breathe.
Yeah, that's
so
definitely a plus.
Yeah, so I basically raced on Sunday with one eye like half swollen shut, and was able to end the season on a win.
Yeah,
and
that's impressive. How do you do that?
Is
that like now? Not that I would think that anybody should do this, but I've heard people talk about, when you're maybe driving under the influence, you keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise, or cover up one eye and you just kind of pick between the middle. So did you just kind of like just go, okay, I'm gonna go where I think it is, or what was the setup on that?
No, luckily, like, it started out like my eye was like pretty much closed, maybe half open, and then by the end of the race I could fully open it because I think whatever allergic reaction I had was wearing off, and maybe just a little bit of adrenaline helped me open it up.
Right.
But yeah, it was just kind of like I had really good vision out of one eye, and then this eye, my peripherals weren't great. So luckily we raced on the track the day before, so I kind of knew how it was.
Yeah. So what was your highlight of the 2012 year? I mean, obviously winning the championship is the highlight, but say like if there was one race that sticks out in your mind the most from your 2012 WORCS Championship, which one would that be, and why?
The race that sticks out the most. Well, I'll tell you, I had some of the most fun, and obviously this has to do a little bit with winning the championship. But Sunday's race at Kauai was awesome because it was really hot the day before. Like it was worse. We had a lot of hot races last year. In Phoenix in April, it was like 103, and then we go to Kauai and it's like 100 with I don't know what the humidity was, but it felt even hotter,
Shit ton.
even though the temperature wasn't as high. So but Sunday rolls around and it's still pretty hot. Like I get my gear on and I'm sweating by the time I get my gear on. And then about 5 minutes after we take off, it just starts downpouring. And like this thunderstorm rolled in and the track got flooded. And luckily I was out front just having a blast. Like there was rivers running through the track, and the dirt got awesome. And then it got sloppy. And I come into the pits. My goggles are all jacked up. And I'm like, I need goggles. So they grabbed me some goggles, and they weren't the right goggles. So I was like, these are wrong goggles. What's going on? And I'm still in race mode, even though basically all I had to do on Sunday was finish the race or I had to finish half the laps, then I would win the championship. And that was like right before the halfway point. And then I come around the next lap, and my mechanic, Johnny, has my goggles on, and he's like, hey, I found your goggles.
Thanks, buddy.
And I come around the next lap. And my family and all the team is wearing my championship T-shirt and they're all eating ice cream, and they're like, "Good job, champ!"
High five! Congrats!
Yeah. So it was just fun, like all that kind of put together. It ended up being like a mud race in August and in Southern California, which you wouldn't expect, and it was pretty cool.
Well, pronounce the name for me one time again, because I always want to call it like Chihuahua.
I call it Kauai, but I don't know if that's correct
That's okay.
or not.
I would never have said that. But I'm not known to be the most intelligent nor the most literate person ever. So I don't think anybody would ever actually hold it against me. So that's okay. Well,
All right.
yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. So, I mean, how many times do you get called Taylor Roberts versus Taylor Robert?
Well, it's getting better.
Is it?
I think
I don't think it is.
maybe getting my name out. I'm getting my name out there enough where people are like, "Oh, there isn't an S on the end of his name." But no, I get called Taylor Roberts a lot, or at least in the motorcycle industry now, people at least realize that Taylor's my first name and not my last name. Because I get called Robert Taylor a lot, especially like in a doctor's office or whatever. They see it on a sheet, they're like, "Oh, well, he messed up writing his own name. It must be Robert Taylor."
Totally wrote it backwards.
Yeah. So, I have even gotten a jersey from a sponsor that had Taylor written on the back. And then I get everything. My whole family does, because we all have two first names. My dad is Sean and my brother is Spencer. So we're all getting called Robert or put an S on it or something. I don't know.
Right.
But we're kind of used to it. Luckily, it's getting better now, and I'm getting my name out there enough to where people kind of realize what's going on.
Yeah, no, I know that I had a lot of issues with that, honestly. Just, again, call it whatever it is. Ignorance, intelligence issues. But I was always like, Taylor Roberts, and everybody's like, it's Robert. I was like, but it's Roberts. And then you'd search online everywhere, and I'd see it as Roberts. And then I'm like, but see, they're like, no, well, everybody else has it wrong. And I'm like, the internet doesn't lie. But apparently the internet lied just because of the fact that we were all ignorant and unfortunately lacking in intelligence. So apologies to you. Because
no worries.
I do not.
It's funny though, in Europe they don't have a problem with it, because my last name is actually French, and in France it's pronounced Robert, which sometimes you'll hear Dave Brocious call me Taylor Robert.
Robert.
If you're at an Endurocross race.
It's definitely sexy.
But
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I pronounce it Robert.
You're like, but I don't like that.
Yeah. But at Germany this year, like nobody has a problem with it because they're used to that being a last name over there.
Yeah.
So like, oh, Taylor Robert. And I'm like, oh yeah, that guy didn't get it wrong, and he's never met me before.
He's like, but he's also French.
So
that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
all right. Well,
So.
I don't know about you, but I actually had, we were talking about you riding a little bit. I actually had a fun weekend. One of the things that I'm drinking right now is the Red Bridge. It's a sorghum beer. We had a big discussion about why I'm drinking all this gluten-free stuff and eating that way with my son, but we don't need to get back into that. But that's an interesting conversation. You can go back and check it out on one of the other episodes. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. And this past weekend, I was actually the master of ceremonies for the TSEC banquet, which is like the Texas State Championship Enduro Circuit here in the state of Texas. I'm a AA rider there, but obviously by no means would that mean on a national level that would even hold any kind of water. But it was fun. It was interesting. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I tried to like have fun with it and kind of keep it light, and we did. We moved it through fast. You know, banquets can be such a kick in the junk sometimes. They just kind of like, okay, next, and they just take forever. But it was a lot of fun, and then just hung out on Sunday. It was good. I got to hang out with Sam Reynolds. So
Nice.
It was nice. What was the last banquet that you got to go to? Was it WORCS?
It was the WORCS banquet. Yeah, back in at the last race in Taft.
So they had to banquet
So.
like right after the event.
Yeah, that's how they've always done it. Just whatever city the last race is, they'll have a place that they rent out and just kind of have the banquet there. So.
Well, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I want to say thank you very much to one of our sponsors, and it's going to be Fly Racing. FlyRacing.com is where you can go check them out. I was talking to my buddy over there who's been helping out Seat Time a lot, and there was a product that they wanted me to talk about a little bit, and I have no problem about that because I had no idea this product existed. So let me bring it up here. So this is the Stingray Ready to Ride Hydration Kit. So by Fly Racing, FlyRacing.com. This is something that I thought was really interesting because in the off-road world, we have a lot of problems going back and forth sometimes with a chest protector and maybe a camelback, how you're going to fit it all on there with your neck brace and all that jazz. Well, this is all kind of built into one, minus the neck brace. So it's got the hydration pack built into the back part of Actually, the front part is the chest protector built onto their hydration pack. So it's completely removable if you just wanted to wear the hydration pack. Fortunately, you can't really have a full chest protector off of that because the hydration pack is the back part. But I thought it was pretty neat and an interesting product and definitely something that you guys needed to know about. So please go check it out. It's the Stingray Ready to Use Hydration Kit. It's at flyracing.com. We thank them very much for their support. You should support them as well. So now that that's out of the way, one of the things that you and I got to do this past year, Mr. Taylor Roberts, was go to Germany. I didn't really realize that I was even going until last minute, but I got to do it. It was a lot of fun. It was actually an amazing experience. But you got to go as well. And not only that, but you came away as the top American, 15th overall, and 7th in the E2 class. That's pretty good. I mean, you've been before, but that's still a really good considering the fact that, you know, kind of going over there, you were like, I don't really know exactly where things are at. I got to keep my head straight and just ride and see what happens with my ride. So, you know, how was this year in Germany compared to other years that you've been to the ISDE? And, you know, how did you pull off such a phenomenal accomplishment being the top American?
Well, I think it was obviously we had a really good team this year. We had myself, Destry, Kurt, Brownie,
Kurt Caselli?
Russell Bobbitt.
The man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Charlie was there too. And, going in, I got pretty good speed on a 450. So I was like, all right, I want to do really well this year. I had been once before in 2010 in Mexico City and kind of got a feel for the whole enduro format, at least the way they do it over there.
Yeah,
and
very
whatnot.
different.
So, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, now my second time, I want to go and do well. And it was a cool experience. The terrain was completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
It sounds like there was a lot of people thinking that, unfortunately.
It was funny because we had a few tests that were nasty slippery. And I've got slippery stuff out where I live, but it's dry slick, which is completely different than wet slick. And we got done with, I forget what day it was, like day 4, and we're just like, dude, that was hard. And even Russell and Charlie were like, dude, that was some of the slipperiest stuff I've ever ridden, and those tree roots were nasty. And I was like, dude, try coming from Arizona where it's always dry and we have no tree roots.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, I mean, it was definitely different. I obviously you always want to go and win, so I wanted to do a little bit better. But it turned out pretty well. I mean, I had one little incident with my hand or my wrist where on day 2 or 3 I started getting really bad tendonitis and my wrist swelled up and felt like I was turning on sandpaper inside my wrist.
that
So
sounds horrible.
that was pretty painful, but I was able to ride through it. I mean, it was bothering me when I was riding, but I kind of tried to put it in the back of my head and just focus on the special tests. But yeah, I didn't really have any major problems. I had a few pretty decent like wrecks in the tests where I was just pushing hard and washed the front end out or something like that because it was so slippery.
Yeah.
But I was able to keep it together all week and not really get seriously injured aside from my tendonitis, which was killing me, especially by day 5. Day 5 was the worst.
Yeah.
Even though it was for everybody else, it was the most fun day because we had like 2 awesome motocross tracks, an awesome grass track, and it was a blast. But I was just like I was so out of it. My wrist hurt, and that whole deal. But no, I kept it together. Was able to get top American, and yeah, I mean I can't wait to go again. I want to just keep improving on that type of riding and keep building my international ability and just be able to ride everything. That's kind of what I want to do in off-road. I don't just want to be the guy that's fast at WORCS
Right.
and whatnot. I want to be able to be fast at everything and be really adaptable, which is why I'm glad like I really improved in Endurocross this year, and I want to get into like some more extreme races. I did last dog standing at Glen Helen in 2012 and about to do King of Motos, so really looking forward to kind of expanding my horizons and becoming adaptable.
Yeah, it's I know like one of your teammates there at the ISDE is Kirk Caselli, and he's kind of starting to become that all around guy. He's been kind of pulled into all these different with Baja and Hare and Hound. He's done a couple Endurocrosses. He's done World Enduros before. I mean, and now he's at Dakar. So I mean, is that kind of something that you think would be a line that you would like to try to follow to try to do all these different types of racing?
Yeah, I mean, I really just want to be able to race everything, and the Dakar, I don't know much about Dakar. I've been following Kurt the last week and a half that he's been over there, and obviously he's been doing good, especially for his first time.
Yeah.
From what I see, I understand
with no
it's pretty
preparation
difficult.
whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. No preparation, and you have to do all the navigation yourself and kind of find your own route and whatnot. And so it definitely looks like something that's interesting, and I know those guys are pretty nationally recognized. I mean, we don't recognize it very well in the United States, but those guys are like superstars overseas. So that's something that's pretty cool, and I want to keep expanding my horizons. I'm 22, and I feel like I've accomplished quite a bit of stuff by this age. So I just want to keep getting better and better. And I've been having a blast with the extreme type race like riding. I haven't really done that much extreme racing,
Right.
but I really like that stuff. And riding my trials bike. I ride my trials bike anywhere from 2 to 6 times a week. So been having a blast doing that
Do
too.
you think that there's any chance that you'd like try to do a couple trials competitions?
It's funny, because the guy that I ride with, Mike Dam, he lives like a mile down the road, and he used to do all the national trials competitions back in the '90s, and now he just rides for fun. But then Brian Roper, who got 3rd or 4th this year in the AMA Trials Series, they're always trying to get me to come out and do the local events. But it's funny, I feel like they schedule the local ones on top of like every weekend that a WORCS race is or something like that. But no, I would like to do one and go do one for fun because I feel like I'm getting pretty good. I'm nowhere near their level, but I can at least trials is weird because when you first get on it from a moto side of it, you're like, oh man, like I should just kill it at this. I can ride a dirt bike. I can do anything,
Right.
But you get on it and it's so awkward at first. Dude, the spacing's wrong. The shifter's way too far forward. Like all this stuff. You're like, what's wrong with this thing? And you want to ride in like 4th gear all the time. But now that I've been riding them for a few years, I pretty much you ride in first gear everywhere unless you're doing something big.
Yep.
And then yeah, it's fun getting able to get that technical side of it and just kind of get creative with your lines. And I'm to the point now where it's fun to go out and free ride and just kind of, you can, I'm good enough where I can get around. I might not be able to do everything without dabbing, but I can get around pretty good on all the stuff that they do. And yeah, it's fun. We'll make sections, we'll make trial sections and sit there for a half hour, an hour, and just see how long we can go before we clean it.
Well, have you been able to splat anything where you've actually just like slam into it and go up the wall?
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, coming from the moto side of it and off-road definitely helps with that. Splatters are like the things that I can do really easily. It's the super technical like rear wheel hops and stuff like that that are hard for me. But if you go up a big wall, like I'm good at big walls, it's the tight turns that get
Right.
me.
Yeah, I used to have a trials bike a couple years ago and was always playing around on it. And they always wanted me to go into like the, whatever it's either amateur or novice, whatever the first class is, just because it'd be fun. It's they say it's a much different experience than any other kind of like dirt bike competition you'll be at, because it's not a race. Like guys are out there, they're doing
Right.
their thing, and then the second it's over, like everybody's drinking beer and goofing off, because obviously the stamina aspect of it's a lot different. So, it's a lot more about technique and being good on the motorcycle opposed to saying being fit. So,
Right.
maybe that's why there's a lot more older men doing it, but at the same time, there's obviously a lot of like really good guys that are extremely young doing it. But I don't know. I can drink beer, and I think I'd be good at that. So see if I can find a competition
Yeah.
for that. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay. So you say you want to do, a lot more overall type of these overall type events. So if you were to be able to, make it onto the team for 2013 to go back to the ISDE in Italy, what are some of the things that you would work on?
Well, from what I've heard, which every time, the last two times I've gone to ISDE, what you hear about the race before you go there is not true at all. So I don't know, because when we were going down to Mexico, it was supposed to be a mud race, and then that was drier than Arizona down there.
Oof.
And then coming to Germany, they're like, oh yeah, it'll be nice, it'll be chocolatey dirt, it'll be just full moto. And then we get there, and even Kurt was like, dude, these are two of the gnarliest enduro tests I've ever seen. So I was like, all right, great. But no, I heard it's supposed to be sandy, which I love sand. So
It's supposed to be
I
like
will
kind
probably,
of like Chile a lot, is from what I've been hearing. Is that it's like because it's right there on the coast, or like it's an island and it's
yeah,
a little ass island, so it's supposed to be a lot of whatever everything the island has to offer. But again, like you said, somebody's gonna say it doesn't have trees, and you get there and it's all damn trees or something. So
right. Well, and after the race in Germany, I was talking to one of the Italians, and I was like, so what's it going to be like? Because I figured they might know better than anybody else. And he's like, oh man, it's going to be sandy and hot. I don't know. I was like, perfect, sign me
yeah,
up. Those are two things I like.
check and double check.
Yeah.
I think you'd be good at that kind of stuff.
So, so yeah, I mean, growing up in Arizona, we got a lot of sand, and I got a bunch of sand tracks, and then I always seem to do well at the sand races. I've won Havasu the last 2 years, and I do good at Mesquite and Prim and everywhere else. And ago I got to do that race down in Argentina on the beach and got third in that. So I might even have an opportunity to do that again this year. So I love the sand, and I tend to do well in it. I just think it suits my style, where you kind of have to be light on the bike and float and just kind of flow with the bike. So if it is sandy and hot, I think I'll be looking forward to
Hell
it.
yeah. It's funny you mentioned Argentina, because I heard that 2014 ISDE is going to be in Argentina.
Yeah, which would
That sounds like
I've
you're
only
in for the
ridden.
next 2 years.
Yeah, I rode on the beach in Argentina, and it was pretty fun. And those guys love motorcycles down there. When we went down there 2 years ago, it was me and Justin, and then the rest of it, just the team manager and mechanics and everybody. And they had no idea who we were. And I had a stack of posters. I don't know, maybe like this thick. It was gone in like 2 minutes. They're like they couldn't get enough of it. And I
Really?
signed so many autographs down there, more than I've signed in my whole career anywhere else. I signed more down there combined. And it was a blast down there. Everybody was loving motorcycles and just loving the race.
That's pretty wicked, dude. Well, no, I think I was telling my wife, obviously we had just had our newborn a couple months before. We went to Germany, and so it was a trying test. It was figuring it out. We made it work. Luckily, she was nice enough to let me take off and do that, to go kind of cover it and everything with all the media aspect. But we were talking about going to Italy next year, and I was like, well, maybe you could come and we could spend some time there and do that together. And you could come a little early, we could do that, or vice versa. She could come in late and everything. And I was like, well, that'd be like 2 weeks off of work for me. And then I found out about Argentina next year, and I'm like, man, I've been to Italy. I've never been to Sardinia, but I've been to Italy. So I'm kind of like, man, I think Argentina would be biatchin'. Like, I think that. So I mean, have you ever been to Italy? Do you have any kind of, if somebody were to go to do kind of what I did this past year in Germany, to have a choice between Italy or Argentina, would you have a preference? Some
Well,
advice.
I've never been to Italy.
I need your help. I need your help here, Taylor.
Yes, sir. I've never been to Italy. The only place in Europe I've been was Germany this past September. Okay.
So you're actually no help whatsoever.
I can tell you, I had more fun in Argentina than I did in Germany. Aside, like, the atmosphere down there, I thought was cooler. Right. I didn't like the food at all in Germany. It was really plain. I loved the food down in Argentina, and it was cool because I don't know what time of year or what month it's going to be in Argentina, but I do know that the race in February in Argentina is summer down there because they're in South America, and it's awesome down there. It's like 80 degrees or 85 degrees, and you're on the beach, and there's a bunch of hot tan chicks walking around.
That's the horrible. Why would you want to do that?
No, it's terrible.
Worst time ever. Well, how is the beer down there? Is the big question I have. Because I know if I go to Italy, I can get a shit ton of wine, which I'm fine with. I'm okay with that. But you're 22 now. You've only had a year to practice legally, so.
Right. Well, of course, legally. I mean, when I went down there, I was only 20, so I didn't drink at all.
But what are their laws, though? You know what I'm saying?
You know what, to tell you the truth, I don't even know, because we weren't drinking before the race, and then after the race, we were there one night, and we didn't even go out. We basically packed up our stuff after the race, and we left first thing in the morning. So, I would have to ask my mechanic on that one, because he is the beer guy.
I'm gonna have to hang out with your mechanic.
Yeah. They did some drinking down there, but I'm not sure how it was.
Oh man!
But I can tell you, they like to have fun. That's for sure.
Not the worst time. Well, I was disappointed that I didn't see very many Americans. I won't tell you the names of who I did see at the after party for the ISDE, but I will tell you, if you have never been to an ISDE after party, you have never been to an after party. This was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I can't tell you where I woke up, and I can't tell you how I woke up, because both of those suck. But luckily enough, I'm still married. I didn't do anything that I shouldn't have. It just was like, whoa. I was like, oh my God. So it was pretty interesting. But okay, so I got all kinds of more questions, and I did want to ask. It looks like actually Meg is joined us in the chat room. PS. So she's
all right. Do I click on chat here?
She's gonna have some. She's probably gonna have some dirt on you, I would imagine, at some point. But one of the things is I was wondering to ask you is, I noticed you do have a website, but what are some of the things that you had to go through to get that website up and running?
Well, to tell you the truth, and Andrew Campo, who I believe may be Meg's boss,
yes,
kind of.
Go on.
He's the one that designed my website, did it all for me. He updates it for me, and I actually just talked to him today. It hasn't been updated in a few months. I've also kind of been waiting to see what I got going on this year, but we're supposed to kind of sit down this week and kind of update everything. But Andrew definitely took care of me, and I mean, I've seen a lot of athletes' web pages, and he did a good job on mine. I think it looks pretty clean and professional.
Nice. All right. So here's how I'm working this in. I have to take a time to thank another one of our partners. It's Squarespace, and you can find them at squarespace.com/seattime. Now, what this is, they're a content management system. So like a blog or a website would be run by, a form of a back-end system where you can type in everything you want to type. You can upload all your pictures. You can embed all your videos, but it's as well hosting. So a lot of people are like, ooh, I should use WordPress, or some other form of a content management system. Well, the problem with that is you don't get all the customer service, and you don't get all the hosting, and you don't get all the full package that Squarespace offers. It's something that I've been playing around with a lot for a personal side of mine, and I love it. I think it's awesome because of the fact that I can go in at no time. I am a freelance web developer, but I know what it's like to have someone, either hound me, or I've had to hound somebody else to make updates to my website or put a picture up, or, oh my gosh, just put this video up of me. The good thing is about Squarespace is you can go in and you can do all of that on your own with ease, and it has a ton of awesome templates, so you can have yourself a very professional looking website without having to go through a freelance developer or anything like that, or trying to find, man, who's the right person to build my site. One of the other things that's really nice is it's fully responsive. A lot of people are viewing the website these days on the mobile web, so either tablets, iPhones, Android phones, things like that. All of their templates are completely responsive, so they're going to look beautiful. All your content's going to fit perfect on their mobile device as well as it would on their big browser device. So obviously something you're not going to find in a lot of other themes, things like that. And then one of the best parts is that with our offer code, SeatTime1, you can get 10% off of your first purchase. So if you were to buy a year package or a bi-yearly package, obviously you're going to be saving a ton of money, but you could use it as well on a month to month. But just know that you would only save that 10% on your first month. So squarespace.com/seattime, and make sure you put in the offer code SeatTime1. I'd like to thank them for their support of Seat Time, and we will get back to Taylor Roberts because he's sitting over there going, oh my gosh, he's just talking about all this stuff. But obviously, Taylor, if any of these people you have ever, been in contact with, or you have good stuff to say, I don't want to hear anything bad to say, but if you have anything good to say, you just let me know. And if you do have bad stuff to say, you can say it. I'll just, find a way to, rebuttal what you have to say. So it's okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. So, truth. Megan had to say that Camps is the man, and I responded with truth. I think that's a good truth. That's a good truth. Okay, so you were in Phoenix this past weekend as we had what I would like to call the Phoenix Supercross, which is round 2. So that's not a bad thing to call it because it's the truth. That's what it was. And I saw you were there
Right.
with a picture on Instagram with you and a lady. Was that just a random person, or is that someone special in your life at the current moment?
Oh, that was just some chick I met at the race. I was like, hey, I'm going to take a picture.
Yeah, let's get
You want
together.
to take a picture with me?
Hey.
Yeah, I was like, I'm kind of famous on Instagram. You'll probably get a lot of likes. And
TR33, baby.
no, that's a girl I met. I actually met her a couple of years ago, but just recently kind of started hanging out with her and been dating her.
Love
And
life. That's good.
she's pretty cool. Her name's Stephanie, and just been hanging out, having fun, and then hopefully that was the first race she's ever been to with me, but she should be out at the WORCS race this weekend too.
Awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me about your Phoenix Supercross round 2 experience. Since you are an Arizona native and you were there, I want to know what you thought. There's tons of questions I could ask you and try to lead you to a certain answer, but I don't want to do that. I want to just give you the floor.
All right. So the race was intense. I think, as everybody saw, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
But no, it was fun. I mean, for me, it's kind of cool to go there because I'm not a Supercross racer, so I can just go there and hang out and kind of meet up with everybody from the industry and talk while all these other guys are all gung ho, hating each other, trying to butt heads, take each other out in practice, and I'm just like, hey guys, how you doing? Good to see you, you know. And so yeah, it's kind of cool for me because I know a lot of people in the industry, so they're all there at once, so I can go around and kind of just talk to everybody. And then get to the race, and man, it was crazy. I can't believe how many people were just getting cleaned out. The same that those rhythm sections were just eating them alive.
Yeah. it was that last section, kind of going left-hand turn where we saw Villapoto crash, we saw Albertson crash, and we saw Kennard crash. It all seemed to be kind of the same crash. They were going to that rhythm section, and then they just either came up short or their bike responded funny. It was the same one where Davalos crashed as well, where he had his horrific crash in the 250s. I mean, it's just that so strange. That was absolutely insane. And then I'll try to get up too fast and fall over again, which is something that I would do probably as well. But you know,
Yep, which yeah, I can see. Especially, it seemed like, except for Villapoto's, but definitely Kennard's and Anderson's was on the last lap, and you get up all rushed, and then you slide out again, and then you're even more mad.
yeah.
So definitely, just gotta learn to, I guess, take your time and be cool, and not try to pick your bike up while you got the throttle twisted all the way wide open.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of like a 3-stroke sound more than a 4 or 2. But I think what sucked, I'm a big Dungey fan. I'm not, I'm a big, not only am I a KTM fanboy, but I'm a big Dungey fan as well. I like reading all that stuff too, but not Hondas, but whatever. So his wreck was actually, I think, pretty intense. The fact that he kind of like flew off of that double and like landed on his bike and on the side. I mean, he could have had a peg or a kick, whatever, so straight into his body, and that would have ended his night. I mean, if he'd have landed halfway a bit different, it definitely would have been a lot more interesting. But he just kind of got up and kept going. Do you think that wreck maybe kind of brought upon the fact that he didn't seem very intense like later on and throughout the evening?
What's funny is I actually, the wreck was almost directly in front of me, but it was on the other side of the stadium, so I didn't get a good view of it. And every time they replayed it on the Megatron thing, or whatever, the jumbo
Right.
screen, I didn't get like a good glimpse of it.
You gotta stop making out
but
while
he
the
just,
racing's going on, man.
yeah.
That's it.
So I mean, obviously, I kind of saw the aftermath, and it looked gnarly. Like basically on the face of a triple, you wreck, and that's never a good place to wreck. And yeah, he just didn't. Both him and Stewart seemed like they were just out of it in the main event.
Yeah, and obviously, they've talked about like Stewart and his knee, and a lot of people have wondered if it was actually a pre-Anaheim 1 injury that they kind of, said was, oh, well, he washed out in a turn in practice that nobody saw, which either, I wasn't there, so that's what it is. That's what people say versus what Stewart said. And
Right.
is that something that's still ailing him? I mean, obviously, he still won practice and then won his heat race again, which he did do at Anaheim 1. So if he's playing it smart, and kind of like he's hurting, but he wants to put down some laps and really kind of get out there and test and then just race to get some points. I mean, I guess that's a smart move. I've never been in a position like that where it's just like you have to race to get the points, or you might as well just pack it up and not show up to any more. So I mean,
Right.
have you ever had an issue like that with any of your series where it's just, you feel like you might have to push yourself too hard or too much beyond what you think you should?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what his deal is, but I kind of had something similar in 2010. I tore my ACL at the first WORCS race when I was leading, and just kind of, obviously it hurt a lot. I picked my leg back up with my hand, put it on the peg, and kept it there the rest of the race.
You stay.
And
If you had a zip tie, you
and,
just like zip.
yeah, I was kind of in the same position where I was like, man, what do I keep racing? Do I pull in? I'm pretty positive my knee's jacked up. So I raced the rest of that race. Luckily, it was at my home track at Speed World, and I seemed to go pretty quick there, even with one leg. So I was able to win that race. But after the race, I was kind of in the position of, yeah, you can ride with a torn ACL. It's not really comfortable, but it doesn't. It's not like it holds your. It's not like it holds your leg together to the point where if you don't get it fixed, your leg's gonna fall
Right.
off. So yeah, you can ride with it, but I got mine fixed, and I'm way happier. I mean, it feels good now, and I don't think there's any point in going out there and racing. If it is torn, he's going to be like that the rest of the season. So I don't see why you would go out there and want to get sixth for 18 races when you could get just not race for 18 races and then come back and win a championship the next year.
Yeah, that's true. And then like the way it typically works out is, I mean, they go from into Supercross to maybe a weekend off to beginning of motocross. So I mean, it's not like if he were to fight it out, he could have time between. He wouldn't. He'd fight it through the whole Supercross season and then the whole motocross season, and then he might miss another Monster Energy Cup. So that's whatever.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting the way I don't know. You can hear everything that everybody has to say, as we watch the shows and as we listen to all the different podcasts and stuff. I'm not making any assumptions. It does seem like Stewart is not riding up to what we're used to and not maybe what we would expect, but he's there. He's still battling. I hope he keeps it up because obviously this has been a great, interesting year so far. I mean, we're only 2 rounds in. Got a bunch more to go. But Barsha, I mean, obviously we knew the speed that he was carrying at A1, had a little bit of problems there, but he was going to win. I mean, the way he rode at Monster Energy Cup, we were talking about, he was going to win one of these races, and he got it at round 2 in Phoenix. I mean, how was that for you? Are you anywhere near a Barsha fan, or are you just kind of like, bam, bam, this?
No, I mean, I kind of am a Barsha fan. I kind of grew up around the same time he was doing amateur nationals and whatnot, and I think it's cool just having another guy to come mix it up. I mean, we really got like 6-7 guys that could win a race every weekend if Stewart gets back out there and Dungey is okay, then I mean that's pretty cool to have that many guys that can win a race. There's not very many series in any type of sport where you got 7 guys that can win a race. So I think that'll just be better for our sport, really, if we can get all those guys up there and healthy and battling every weekend. I mean, it'll just be an awesome series. So I'm definitely glad Barsha's up there. I think he's going to be fast for a long time to come, and then you're going to throw Tomac into the mix next year, and it's just going to be this new age of guys coming through that are just hauling.
Don't get me too excited.
Every year.
I'm going to forget to talk about stuff. You get me too excited talking about Tomac coming up to the big boys. I'm like, whoa, yeah. I mean, not only is he awesome, but his dad's John Tomac. I mean, he's like one of the mountain biking gods. It's like, dude, hello. Like, yeah, I'm super excited about that. Okay, so we got Reed, who's on the same bike that Kennard and Barsha's running. I mean, obviously they have small tweaks and personal issues or personal things that go into the way they set up there, right? Personal setup, we'll call it that. That's much more legible in understanding English. But they seem to be doing significantly better than Reed does on these new air forks. All 3 of them are running them. Reed's the one who's been kind of swapping back and forth. So I have never run air forks on a dirt bike. Been riding them for a very, very long time on mountain bikes. Obviously, there was trial and error periods 20 years ago when people were putting, air dampening systems or air sprung systems into mountain bike forks. So have you, on your motorcycle, ever ridden any form of, pneumatic system, so an air-driven system, and do you have any kind of feedback on that?
Well, I am still running my 2012 practice bike, so no.
We can get an adapter. We could just like put a hose in there and like make stuff work, right? I mean,
yeah.
Sounds fancy.
I haven't even ridden a 13 yet. 450 or 250. Everybody tells me how great they are, but
and you just keep telling them to suck it, right?
Yeah, I said you should ride my clapped out 250 and tell me how great that thing is. But no, I haven't ridden the new air fork, so I don't have any feedback on that. But I love my Fox fork on my mountain bike.
Yeah, right. I've seen some Fox. I mean, obviously Fox has been doing minis. Air shocks on shocks on minis, not air shocks on minis, rear shocks on mini bikes. And I've seen some Instagram pictures of Fox out testing with like full-blown moto suspension, like big bike moto suspension. So,
well, yeah, we run Fox shocks on our bikes. Do you?
Okay, and by shocks, just to be completely ignorant, just rear, right? So your front is still a stock, but probably modified, or?
Yeah, we run a rigid front and then a Fox shock in the rear.
It. You know what? I could just suck those bumps up with my legs. Whatevs.
Yeah, exactly.
14 inches of travel. Who needs it?
Yeah. No, I mean, especially in Endurocross, you don't want any give going into logs.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. No, I
um,
love putting my teeth directly into my handlebars.
yeah. But yeah, our rear shock on both our Endurocross bikes and our Works bikes is a complete Fox shock, not just Fox internals or anything like
That's
that.
awesome.
And I really like them. They work really well, especially for off road, because I'm lighter than most guys anyway, so I run a softer setup. But on top of that, I like to run a soft setup anyway, and with the Fox Shock, I can run a soft setup and it still won't bottom out on the moto track. So I really like that feature.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Now that you've actually brought up the Fox shock stuff, though, it kind of has me thinking. Um, we've noticed a lot of like high speed and low speed compressions coming through. Have you noticed any kind of significant mountain bike esque features that have been carried over into this rear shock, this Fox rear moto shock? Or does it just kind of
Um,
seem like a Fox designed moto shock? Obviously, internals are phenomenally different, I would imagine, but
yeah, well, and I don't get too much into the internal,
come
but the
on.
external,
It's not all just about
the
what's on the
external,
outside. Sometimes it's about what's on the inside.
really, that's the first time I ever heard that.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna talk
um,
about your raisin here, son, soon.
no, it's basically a Fox designed moto shock. It has a lot of adjustability, as far as just it's got a lot of
Right,
clickers, a huge range of clickers. And it's got that bottoming out resistance that I was talking about, but it's not like I think the biggest technology coming out with the mountain bikes. And I have a Santa Cruz Tallboy, which is a full suspension
right.
29er that has a Fox shock on it, and that thing's awesome as well. But it kind of has the feature of where they call it like pro
Hmm.
pedal, where when you're pedaling, it doesn't absorb your pedal, and then when you hit stuff, it absorbs it. So I haven't really noticed anything like that. Not that you need that on a dirt
Right.
bike because you're not pedaling, but yeah, I mean, I think that's where mountain biking and dirt biking differs a lot, is because when you're on a mountain bike, you don't want it to take away the power you're putting out when you're pedaling, but you want it to absorb as much as you can when you hit stuff. Where on a dirt bike, we just want it to absorb as much as we can without blowing all the way through.
Yeah. It could be interesting too because obviously KTM, there's a lot of talk of Dungey testing an air shock, WP air shock that Caroli's been running over in Europe. So we know it works, but does it work to the level of the Supercross for being used for Supercross, heating up and all that? But how much are bike geometry is going to change because of the fact that dampening, once they get these air shocks figured out, will be so good. I mean, say like BMW for a long time was putting the rear axle or the axle for the swing arm, back at the frame, or the counter shaft at the swing arm with the engine, and it didn't work, that. But that single pivot kind of more mountain bike look would work better if we had better dampening in our rear shocks. I mean, that's kind of why it didn't work, because it totally screwed up the geometry of the bike with the dampening. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see where all this technology kind of takes us, and if it's going to work off road or if it's motocross friendly or whatever. I don't know. They put linkages on KTM's because
Yeah,
people bitched about it, so whatever.
it'll definitely be interesting. I mean, it's unfortunate that we don't have unlimited amount of money that we can dump into dirt bike technology, because I think we could get these
I
bikes
think it's
pretty
unfortunate
awesome
that
if
we
we.
don't have enough money to pay guys like you to have a full ride and keep being awesome. That's what makes it unfortunate. So
I like the way you
yeah,
think.
I mean, innovation's always going to happen, and that's one of the big things that I've been trying to talk to a lot of people about. If people listen to me within the industry by any means, but I think that we need to get a little bit more creative, and that's where a big problem is. If you notice that the Rockstar Suzuki team that Davey Millsaps is on and been doing so well on. There's not a single Suzuki logo on that bike. We don't know if that is because they said, you know what, we'll just buy the bikes and do whatever we want with the Suzukis, or Suzuki said, no, we're not going to give you any support. I don't know. Nobody's really, whatever it is. But the thing is if more teams like that could come out, they could do more of whatever they wanted to those bikes. Obviously within the standards of what's a WORCS bike and what's a modified bike. But little things like that could be more of what we're going to see in the future. Off-road, obviously, they're going to be to a smaller degree, but I mean, have you even been approached by, say, like more, maybe like 1 or 2 person, small kind of mom and pop type shops, like, or teams or anything like that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've had a couple of different offers here, but for what I'm doing, like, I'm at the point in my career where, like, unless I want to do something else, I would like to make a living riding a dirt bike. Otherwise, I have to go find a different way to make a living.
Yep.
So anything I've been offered has not really been for any. It's just been bikes and parts pretty much,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like that's where I came from. But I feel like my skill set is good enough where you got guys out there that are equivalent to what I'm doing, and they're getting 6 figures, and I would like to be in that category.
Yeah, or at least just have a figure.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I'm just kind of waiting for anything. I mean, hopefully, I would like something, or I would think that something is going to come together in this week or next week. According to what Cowie's telling me, they're trying to work on stuff right now, and they've been pretty cool. Just it's been taking a while, but I think something's going to come together, and I think we'll end up having a pretty good program next year.
Now, is
this
that
year.
Cowie the manufacturer, or is that a kind of like a satellite Cowie team?
I think it's going to be Cowie, the manufacturer. We had talked about doing stuff with a satellite team, possibly like the Babbitt's Arena Cross team,
Yeah.
Or something like that. But as of right now, what I've heard, I'm just talking to the guys at Kawasaki, no other teams, and they're just trying to figure out how they're going to structure things for this year. So just kind of been playing a waiting game, seeing what they come up with, because that kind of whatever they come up with, then I can go off of that and figure out exactly what the rest of the things I'm going to do, because like right now they aren't supporting me at the WORCS race this weekend, so I'm just going out there on my practice bike and going to see how that goes.
Right. Well, the one thing that I kind of take away from this conversation about that is that you have actually been in contact with your, I guess, ex boss, where say like a Josh String, after he won the GNCC title in 2010, they like stopped answering his phone calls and never called him back, and he found out from other people that Suzuki quit racing off road. So even though obviously the Kawasaki team off-road team kind of being defunct was not much more professional, but at least I guess you guys are talking now, and there's a possibility of something in the future, even though it's not under the umbrella of like a Kawasaki off-road program, which is good. So
Right.
Okay, one more quick break for the fact that I love all the people that partner with Seat Time. As I was telling you guys, we did pick up another new sponsor. It's Powersport Graphics, so ridepg.com. One of the big things they wanted us to mention to you guys is that they now have a ready-to-ship option, so you can go in and get their full bike sticker kit, and you can pick the ready-to-ship option, and straight up, logos are as they are. You get 40% off. So if you're going, oh my gosh, $240 is way too much money to spend on a full kit, full sticker kit for your bike, you can go in there, get the ready to ship option. It's what you see is what you get. But at the same time, obviously you're not going to have like John's logo here. But I think what they do is they're taking those off. They're going to make it clean. Your bike's going to look pretty badass, and then you get to save 40%, shipped to your door, ready to put on your bike, looking all sexy. So thank you very much to Powersport Graphics for their sponsorship and their support of Seat Time. We're looking forward to this partnership and the way that we're going to change it up, try to bring in some new stuff. So please, ridepg.com, go check them out, and thank them for their support of Seat Time, because they support awesome, and you should too. All right, last thing is 2013 WORCS. We got the first round coming up this year. Destry Abbott has been working on a lot of the tracks. It's one of the big changes they've made. WORCS as well. It sounds like there's been a lot of stuff in the back, if you will, that they've been changing around. So what are you looking forward to this year? I mean, obviously defending your championship, but some of the changes that you've heard about, Destry Abbott, bring me through your mindset right now, buddy.
I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting to see how it goes this weekend. I don't know if I think Destry's actually just kind of helping them design the first course. I don't know if he's doing anything other than that, and that's a lot of that has to do with the fact that he lives 10 minutes away from where they're holding the first race. So he kind of went out there and just kind of told them where the good stuff is, and I think he hasn't actually been putting up ribbon, but he just gave them a little bit of guidance, and then Oh no, it'd be cool. I think we're gonna have a decent turnout for the first race, better than we had at the end of the year last year. And I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do as many races as I can. I can still go out and have fun, and that's what I kind of made a career of so far doing is WORCS races, and that's where I kind of got my start in off road. So I don't want to just kind of bail on something that I'm still good at and like doing.
So you're not going to go race Supercross like other WORCS champions.
I don't know who you're talking about, but yeah.
I only went to Europe to race World Enduros and then got called back to the States.
Yeah,
it happens.
No, I mean, at this point, if somebody offered me to ride something, I would, because I feel like I can ride Supercross, motocross, WORCS, Endurocross. If you give me a little bit of time, I think I can figure it out.
Nope, you have a weekend. Go figure it out. I'll pay for you to be in Anaheim too, but you're going to be on a 300 two-stroke because that's the only bike I have.
All right, let's do it.
Woo! Hands in the air. Let's just figure it out, man. Whatever. No testing. Just throttle. Just back. You'll make it. I mean, I figure you can make at least a couple triples, right?
Yeah, I can probably at least get over them. I don't know if I'll land in the next rhythm section or not, but we'll find out.
But that's kind of funny that you mentioned that because of the fact that they have the fun sand wall like leading right into the whoops of the Anaheim 2 track this coming up weekend. So do you think that anybody's going to do like a Texas 12-pack? RIP, rest in peace, since we're not going back to Texas anymore. But where they were like, say, like Blake Baggett's and such were like jumping that wall right into the Texas 12-pack, like landing 2 or 3 in. You think that's going to happen this weekend?
Well, is it an actual whoop section or are they like a rollers?
No,
I haven't seen them.
It's like whoops, like real Supercross whoops. Does anybody have the balls for that, or are those things just like that? I mean, like I've walked with 1 or 2 tracks, and those things are serious, but I just don't know if guys are that crazy. Like,
I don't know. I think from my experience on Supercross, it'd be hard to drop into a set of whoops from 15, 20 feet into the air.
That's true, because you're trying to like carry your momentum, so you scrub across across the top, right? That's the official term too. When every team talks about whoops, they go yeah. That's what I hear anyway. I don't know. All right, well, typically seat time, this show that you're watching right now, if you're still with us, I appreciate your effort. Is typically about an hour, so we're sitting at about an hour and 3 minutes right now. I'm gonna say that I say thank you very much for your time, Mr. Taylor Roberts. You are a very gracious young man. And how much do you weigh? What are you, like 120 pounds wet?
Yeah, fully dressed with gear on, and after I jump in the pool, I'm 123 pounds. So that's nice.
That's ridiculous. Are you serious?
No, I weigh about 150.
You're like, no, it's 132, bitch. Shut up. That's only after I get done throwing up my dinner.
Yep.
I do want to know your secret, though. We need to have like a Taylor Robert workout session so I can have like massive ripped guns like you do.
Yeah. Just
I need them. I don't have them.
Just ride everything you can, and then go work out whenever you get the chance.
That's how you wind up with like syphilis. Yeah. You got to watch out.
There's a good possibility of that happening too.
You never know what you're going to wind up with, rashes and all kinds of weird stuff out there in the world. But so obviously you have like, you know, some of the sponsors that you mentioned that are still supporting you, that are going to be supporting you regardless of what's kind of moving forward right now. So this is your time. Tell us where we can find you socially, on the internets, all the people that have got you where you bees. You know, this is your moment, Mr. Roberts. Mr.
All
Robert.
Right. There you go.
Up again.
I would actually say that lately, I think a lot of people have kind of gone this way. I personally like it better, but Instagram, I am pretty active on there. Taylor_Robert 33. There is no S at all in that handle there.
We could make it up though. I'm gonna go create an Instagram account that's Taylor Roberts 33. So I'm gonna be your,
but yeah,
so be like your fan page.
It'll be like a cover band.
Exactly. Except I won't be nearly as good as you are.
Yeah, so Twitter and Instagram, both Taylor_Robert33. Facebook, my website is actually trobert33.com. Yeah, my sponsors are helping me out this year. Thor, Bell, Alpine Stars, USWE, Jaybird, DVS Shoes, Focus Apparel, and then hopefully I can tell you some other ones here shortly
Hey-o.
after I figure some stuff out.
Like I got to make a phone call
Um,
once we get off the internet.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, if I've been getting a lot of questions about what I'm doing next year, what I'm riding, who I'm riding for, what races I'm doing, and I haven't been able to answer a lot of those questions. So sorry if I've ignored some of them, but it's mostly because I don't know. So I don't want to put a bunch of tweets out there that say I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, if as soon as I know something, the social media world should know. I'll put it on
It will be
Facebook and
blown up with
Twitter.
awesomeness.
Yes, so that's what I have for that, and hopefully we'll have some fun racing here in 2013. I'm looking forward
I
to it.
agree. I'm looking forward to as well. I'm gonna try to go race in 2 weeks at an enduro in Texas and see if I can, actually get some shit going. So again, what you've been watching is Seat Time. This is we do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, so don't screw up like other people that have in the past and try to come in late. I'm just kidding. I've done it myself. So we try to find fun guys in the off-road world that race dirt bikes, that like to have a good time, have a really good head on their shoulders, and want to have fun. I think that's a big part that a lot of people miss out on when we do this. We do this for fun when it breaks down, and that's why we have guys like Taylor Robert that come on. We got a couple WORCS guys that we're going to be talking to next week, and then we're going to try to talk to some Hare and Hound guys after the first race takes place there in 2 weeks. So please keep checking back. The website is seattime.co, where you can find out all of these shenanigans, where all this fun stuff's going to be posted. We as well put up fun pictures and all that stuff there. If you happen to be one of those people that tries to skirt out of doing as much work as possible, but you are allowed on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime is where you can find us there. Please go friend us, like us, send us pictures of your mom, whatever it is. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to make sure that you enjoy it. And if you like to tweet people real hard, we are on Twitter as well, twitter.com/seattime_co. A little awkward, but somebody had taken Seat Time, so we had to go change it up a little bit on you. So seattime_co on Twitter. Please, as I said, we like it when you tweet us. It's what makes me get to my weekend. So please find us there and make that happen and make sure you enjoy it. So I appreciate everybody being here. Taylor, I don't know if you've noticed that I finally started my collection behind me. I've finally started putting up my jersey collection. So if in your privateer status you could spare a signed jersey, I'll take it. I'm just saying.
All right, I think I can get you on that program.
Yeah, I need it. I got a couple. I got a couple ISDE ones that are waiting to go up. I need yours. I mean, you don't have to do your Team USA one. I'm just saying, if you got, even if it's got some dirt on it still, a little bit of blood, I'll take it. That's fine. You're not gonna scare me away.
All right. Cool. As long as you don't write like an S at the end of my name on
Oh well, just make sure you send me the same color Sharpie that you used to sign it then.
it.
Now, if you use red, I'll
All
use
right.
blue. We'll figure it out. It'll be interesting. So, again, Seat Time. Always enjoy a pint full of awesome. That's where you can find us. We want to say thank you very much again to flyracing.com, RidePG, and Squarespace. Remember, all of those guys is flyracing.com, ridepg.com, and squarespace.com/seat time. And thanks again to Verb Off-Road for helping us out. We really appreciate it. It's been a pretty good episode. So, episode 69. Is 69 not one of the best times you've ever had on the internet?
Yeah, this is the best 69 I've ever had.
Period. Done.
It,
Show's over. No, I'm not kidding. All right, Taylor, thank you very much, dude. We'll stay on the line, but we're going to talk. Love you.
all right, thank you.